Hello, folks. Strange things happening with refugees flying from South Africa to the United States on the evening of 3 February 2026. So, what's happening here? Well, I'm not really sure. A lot of people have been talking about the use of non-U.S. carriers for the past few weeks, and I've known about this, and I can confirm that there have been South Africans who've come over on non-U.S. carriers like Air France and Lufthansa, among others, KLM. But it's not something we talk about publicly because we know the behavior of certain people who will then, misbehave. But neither here nor there. The point is that we've sent people, we, America, the US government, have sent people on these non-US carriers, which are not under US control, to Europe and then onward to the States. Well, things happen. Planes break down, weather interferes with flights, flights are canceled, flights are delayed, people don't show up where they're supposed to be. And then there's this strange little thing called in-transit visas. So if your flight is delayed in Frankfurt, for instance, and the airline is going to put you up in a hotel, you're going to have to leave the international terminal and go through customs and immigration to enter Germany. Well, if you're from South Africa and you don't have a Schengen visa, I do believe you have a problem. No? So what happens then? You're stuck sleeping in the airport on the floor on chairs in the airport. Not a great thing if you have a 3 month old and you have a toddler and you've got a large family and this is brand new experience for you and maybe something you've never flown in your life. This is a cock up of the highest order in my view. Now, earlier today, well, yesterday now, I received frantic messages from two of my moderators and a person who monitored one of these refugee groups, which I tell people to stay out of, but I suppose they do have some merit in this case. I also had a similar experience a couple of days ago in which an American family, which is a South African family, arriving in Newark had a delayed flight and they were unable to reach their refugee case officer because they didn't have airtime and didn't know how to handle it. So they did reach out to me and I was able to contact their case officer who was grateful in Cleveland to find out what was going on and then gave their number on WhatsApp. And then the case officer contacted them WhatsApp, got it all sorted out, and they arrived with a delay, but no one was sitting at the airport needlessly. So that helped there, the intervention there, and it eased a lot of people's minds who were stranded at the Newark airport. Not a fun place to be stranded. By the way, you can't use cash there, you can only use credit cards. So what happened this past evening is that these folks were stuck in Frankfurt, about 30 South Africans from 6 families. And there's no one there to help them, no one to tell them anything. And then the strange thing is that the airline rebooked their flight for the next morning. That's today, the 4th, to fly. And in fact, 8 o'clock in the morning, they should be flying soon. Germany is now, yeah, they should be flying right in about 15 minutes. They should be boarding a plane to fly to the United States right about now. Yep, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So they are going to fly over now, but they're booked to Chicago, which makes sense. Lufthansa flies Frankfurt to Chicago. Not a big deal. I've flown that flight before. But then all of them are booked to go on to DC, IAD. I don't understand that. We have people flying to Utica, people flying to Kansas in the Midwest, people flying elsewhere. Why, like Buffalo, why are they all flying to DC? I don't understand that. Now, what we don't know is maybe that has been rebooked this morning to take them direct to their destinations from Chicago. Maybe it gets rebooked in Chicago. I have no idea, but it's quite strange. But whatever the case is, these are people that refugee case officers, at least 30 people, 6 cases that are waiting for arrival people should have been there today, and now they're coming the next day, or should have been there yesterday. So no one contacted, I guess IOM, International Organization of Migration, is responsible for this, but no one contacted the case officers. I got information on 3 of the cases. The other families wandered off the airport, so we didn't have information. I got information on 3 of the cases. I called each of the case officers. 2 of the case officers went straight to voicemail. What good are refugee case officers if they never answer their phone? I asked. And the third officer in Utica answered the phone. And I told him the situation. He said, "Who are you?" I said, "Well, I'm an advocate helping refugees. And I'm just trying to let you know that these guys aren't coming. You can check on it yourself, but you're not going to be informed because nobody's letting you know. I'm doing the courtesy." He was very grateful. He thanked me. And then he said, "Wait a second, who are you?" "Colonel Wyatt." "I know who you are." So the guy actually knew who I was. I'm known, I guess, in some refugee circles, unbeknownst to me. So what happened was I informed him. He said, "Get information, let me know." And so there you go. I told him. He then contacted IOM and said, "Hey, what's going on here? What's happening to these people coming over here to this location? I hear they're stranded in Frankfurt." Well, My intervention then got apparently IOL. I believe it's IOL. I'm not going to say unequivocally. I'm just telling you secondhand. It then got IOL jazzed up, and apparently the alerts went out on all these families to all their case officers. So they should be fine now. Okay. But there is a flaw in the system that there's no plan in place for what happens if a flight is delayed when you go in transit through Europe to come here. A huge mistake. And now, on top of that, I got anecdotal evidence reported to me from several people from groups that there are 180 South Africans who flew into London, Heathrow, and from there continued on to the States. And some of them had flights canceled. 180. If 180 South Africans went to London and then at least 30 went to Frankfurt on the same day. Folks, that is at least 210 South Africans. That is a huge jump from the number we were talking about a couple days ago, just last week, 120. 210, and that's not including the flight that came to DC or to Atlanta. So that flight presumably had another 30 or more refugees. So at least 210, possibly 240, 250 refugees. Some people are saying as many as 300 came over in a single day. I don't know if that's true, but that's certainly an amazing number. But the thing about the people that are in London who don't have the transit visa, who are kind of stuck, my moderators offered to get me to help them to intervene, to get some information and support them. They didn't want to share their information. So good luck to you. That's your choice, your decision. If you're comfortable sitting in the airport, that's your choice. And I can't help you if you don't want to be helped. We can only help people that want to be helped. If you don't want our help, then it's none of our business. And that's your challenge. Deal with it. Anyway, folks, crazy stuff happening. In-transit visas, shipping or flying folks through Europe and onward to the States, and the numbers growing significantly for those coming over a daily basis. This is astounding how many people are coming over now. Again, if the cap is going to be adhered to, it will be reached very quickly at this rate. If it hasn't already been projected by the end of February or March, I don't think the cap is going to apply. I think the Trump administration will go blow past that cap for South Africans. The number of people being processed is shockingly high now. And the program is in full swing. And the South African media are dead silent on this. The content creators are dead silent on this unless they wanted to complain about the program. But no one's talking about the positive aspects for people getting over here. The numbers are big. Anyway, that's an update on what's happening with the folks stranded in London and folks stranded in Frankfurt who are refugees. Anyway, cheers.